This film may have won the Palme d'Or, but like a lot of prestigious and artistic film festivals, don't watch the film that wins the award. Watch the films that didn't win the awards but got the nominations. Hi, I'm Vernon and this is Kit, and we just watched Bong Joon Ho's Parasite. Kit, what did we just watch?
We watched a rather confused and unbalanced mix of conman caper and dark comedy.
Okay, did it work for you?
The first half, the caper conman part didn't really work. I didn't really care for the characters, but it did a sudden swerve towards like dark comedy a bit late in the movie, and actually that part did grab me. The last half did grab me.
The film is very traditional. It's separated in 3 acts. The first act introduces us to a family living in poverty, but they're the scrappy kind of family who will con anyone for any amount of money to get by.
They are very opportunistic, but also very sly, very smart.
Kind of like the family we watched in The Odd Family. Another
Zombie for
Korean,
sale.
yes, a family full of con people who got into something too big for them to handle.
Must be a Korean thing.
In the first act, we are introduced to this conman family, and they finally find the mark of their lives.
Which is a rich family, and they get one family member in, and then they slowly fire the other staff in the house and then pull in the other family members.
The son ends up as the English tutor for the family's daughter, even though he has no qualifications to speak of.
Then the sister came in as the art teacher for the family's young son.
Then they get the family driver fired and replace him with their dad, who at least used to be a driver.
Then they drive the housekeeper out, and then they bring in the mother.
Right, so it's kind of entertaining how they do it.
But it took too long, so this is the entire first act, and it takes up about an hour. So I thought that the whole movie was like that.
Yeah, that it would be very light-hearted. The first act is them taking over the jobs of other poor people or other servants, household servants, and it seems to be all harmless and fun.
And it took so long that
It establishes a tone of the film.
I thought it was a combination of the first and second act, so I was waiting for the movie to go into the third act and waiting for the movie to end.
As most caper movies go, the first act really is about the criminals or the con people getting set up into their positions. Always the second act starts when their plans go awry, or when they are found out, or when there is a huge hitch in their plans. Basically, second act starts with this family of con people firmly ensconced as the servants of the house, and then one of the former staff of the house reappears.
The previous housekeeper finds out the con run by these 4 family members, threatens to tell the owners of the house.
It's sort of an impasse or a stalemate, because on one hand she finds out about the family secret, on the other hand the family also finds out about the secret she's been hiding in the basement of the house. That is this classic second act question. How will it be resolved?
Right.
But
unfortunately, their second act is very short, and it really takes quite a dark turn where the two sides are like fighting each other.
usually in caper movies, the second act is where the group of con artists meet against their adversary or come up against a huge hitch in their plans. The second act doesn't fail because of this reveal about the housekeeper coming back. However, it fails in the way that the clash is set up, I think. The resolutions that are hinted are either the family of con artists and the housekeeper have to work out in comic fashion an agreement which nobody likes, but everyone gets more or less what they want, and it's sort of ironic and funny at the same time. And it's more or less what both sides deserve in a comic sense. The other direction that the that the second act in this film hinted towards is a sort of a very dark and violent resolution. Basically, the housekeeper gets to kill off the entire family of con artists, or the con artists have to somehow kill off the housekeeper and a secret.
Which I thought was okay. They did kind of deliver.
No, they did kind of hint at the two possible solutions, both of which are not exactly, and in fact not at all, what is resolved in the third act.
My complaint is actually just the proportions, the lengths of the first, second, and third acts.
This film has a big pacing issue.
A standard way to establish a pattern is to show something happening 3 times.
3 times. You will do it to 3 and no more. Do not go to 4 or 5.
So, but they went to 4. They showed 4 family members being implanted into the household. So if they cut it down to only 3, or really cut short the 4th one, just show it briefly. Don't go to the whole con method.
Routine over and over again. When you overdo a pattern, the first act gets too long and it sort of sets up expectations of what kind of genre the film is supposed to be. Whereas in fact the director did not have that intention of staying in the comic caper genre at all. There's no comedy involved in the confrontation between the former housekeeper and the family of con people.
Which didn't match the comic tone of the first act. Having said that, I actually preferred the second and third acts because
there is real conflict.
You actually do fear for them and get invested in the outcome, whereas the first act, I was like,
it's a standard family of grifters thing, you know?
Which they did not appeal to me at all. I could not relate to them at all. I was not sympathetic at all.
Yeah, I think the family of con people in the Odd Family Zombie for Sale were a lot more sympathetic, even though they were bigger scoundrels in this.
So, okay, let's take an example of a con movie that works. Matchstick Men by Ridley Scott, which starred Nicolas Cage, and that sets up Nicolas Cage very well because he justifies his ways as he's not forcing anybody, because the people that he con voluntarily give their money to him. So yeah, that's how he justifies it. And when he gets conned in the twist at the end of the movie,
spoilers, major spoilers alert,
he actually is not angry or upset, because he takes a he consistently applies the same
values, principles, code of honor.
He actually says, I can't be angry at you because I voluntarily gave my money to you. So that was very impressive, even though it took like the whole movie to kind of make this point. Of course, the journey along the way, the whole movie was good, the twist was also good, but that's what you remember, right? This really flawed character, but you still admire him because he still holds on to his principles in the end.
So, going by this example, textbook example of a great caper movie, I kind of realized what's missing in this one.
No?
Yeah. The family of con artists don't have a code to abide by. When they have no code and their plans go awry, there's no organic solution.
Yeah.
There's no organic solution that either solves or punishes them and yet makes sense within their moral universe or immoral universe.
Yeah, you don't really know what their philosophy or moral universe is, so you can't predict what they're going to do. So like,
or why they will do what they do, which is very important. The film lost me on the third act in the way the conflict was resolved, because it really came out of nowhere.
It's arbitrary.
Yeah, it's very arbitrary. It feels kind of tagged on, that there are some additional social issues that the director desperately wanted to talk about, and let's resolve it by having this social issue addressed.
For example, they could have had this principle of like non-violence. We never hurt anybody, or we only steal from the rich and we help other poor guys like us, and we cooperate with other con men, something like that. But there was no such philosophy.
Without philosophy, actually all this family has is that it has dumb luck, pulls off their initial con job well by using a very well written, very coherent, very consistent MO, but that's about it.
Yeah, and they're shown to be like so good, so smooth in worming their way into this family. So why are they so poor? You know,
Or why does the challenge that's presented to them in the second act so difficult to resolve?
that was quite an unusual one. Yeah, but yeah, it doesn't fit because the first act does show them like thinking on your feet, doing cold reads on the victims. So they're really good at their job.
Without the director actually showing us the moral code of these con people, we don't know why they can't move forward or seem incapable of solving the problem for themselves. It's unlike the family of con men in Zombie for Sale, which you get to see what their code of conduct is, what their morals are, what the principles are, and what their no-go lines are, right?
Yeah, and individual characters were more distinct, whereas here they were like all the same. They were just kind of bland by themselves. So for all you Mr. Boone fans out there, I don't know what to say because
Well, if you liked Okja, you probably like this. I mean, Okja to me was a far worse written film than this.
I didn't watch Okja because just looking at the trailer, it just didn't appeal to me. I watched the Snowpiercer and I wasn't impressed either. It seemed really heavy-handed and also not particularly interesting, which is the biggest sin of all.
Basically, Mr. Boone is a bleeding heart liberal, and all the villains in his films are rich people, big corporations. Evil, full stop.
But not
but
in this movie.
Not in this movie, or at least not from what you would expect in the first act or the second act, in fact, where surprise, surprise, I was like, oh wow, you mean the showdown is going to be between two sets of poor people?
The rich family are very sympathetic, are very nice people.
As far as rich people go in Mr. Boone's cinematic universe, they're about the nicest rich people you can get.
But this movie won the Palme d'Or at Cannes.
It beat a lot of films that both of us will be reviewing shortly after this, if they get distributed in Singapore.
Films like very respected
Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, lost to this.
Jim Jarmusch.
Zombie horror movie starring Bill Murray, Tilda Swinton, and that guy from Star Wars, also lost to this. Pedro Almodovar's latest film also lost to this, and Pedro Almodovar is a bigger bleeding heart liberal than him.
So, warning to the Cannes organizers, do not select us to be your jury.
Yeah, whoever was in your jury clearly had
Different tastes. But okay, production-wise, it was good. The locations were good. The semi-basement where the poor conmen lived, it looked believable, but also...
it's basically the Boondocks.
It looked quite interesting in a way, and the rich family's house was really impressive. So it really did add to the atmosphere of luxury, and it looked good, and it felt good. It fitted the story that was being told.
Yeah, for me, I felt that 3 acts of this film had 3 different genres to them. Possibly in my best version of the film that exists, this would be a great social satire.
Which is not my cup of tea anyway, so maybe I'm the wrong person to talk about this movie.
But the second act basically set this film up as a straight up drama.
A dark drama, which also is not my kind of movie.
Yeah. And the third act of this film set this up as some kind of tragedy, social tragedy. If you watch a denouement, the survivors of this film actually have another plan, and it involves them actually sticking to the law, playing the social rules, and it's just totally out of tone, out of match with the whole film. So
It might have worked as the end point of the son's character arc. The problem is that there was no middle to that arc. This end just comes out of nowhere.
yeah, and it totally doesn't fit the trajectory of the story. So to me, I feel that this film may have won the Palme d'Or, but like a lot of prestigious and artistic film festivals, don't watch the film that wins the award. Watch the films that didn't win the awards but got the nominations.
I guess this would be for fans of Mr. Boon, and maybe art house fans also, but the general public, stay away from this. And that's all we got.
Until we see you next week or the week after.
Bye.